welcome to week 3 of Go Get Your Goals, the 90-day sprint. And what I wanted to do is start off with reviewing a little bit of where we've come in the last week or two and kick off with week 3. So with that said, just a reminder of the subconscious and the conscious mind. I know we've talked about paradigms a lot, and we're going to continue and take a little bit more of a deeper dive today in a different direction of how to release the paradigms that no longer serve you to get from where you are to where you want to be. So again, this is the reminder of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. If you're not liking your results, you're going to want to back it up and start with your thoughts, your beliefs. But your beliefs and thoughts will get you into your habitual behaviors. So it is all intertwined, and it's really about kind of understanding it better and kind of taking the knot or all that's like just combined together and take it apart and in a way dissect it and really see it for what it's worth and what it is, and then you can make different choices. You see, so many people don't even think about this, they don't understand it, and it's once you have the awareness and you've taken the blinders off that you can really understand why you do what you do, and if you're not getting your results, what you want to do or should intend to do in order to get from where you are to where you want to be. So your conscious mind, again, your thinking mind, that's where you gather information. We were only taught our 5 senses: hear, see, smell, taste, touch. We were never, for the most part, at least I wasn't, and most people that I've talked to aren't even aware of their higher faculties and what they are, which that is another lesson coming down the way. But really think about why you make the decisions you make, why you let your paradigms talk yourself out of doing what you should do, and really understanding yourself. The more you understand yourself, the more you'll be able to not only get to your goals, but help other people as well get to theirs. So just wanted to do a little bit of a reminder of last week and then jump right in. So the paradigm. Now, paradigm controls your behavior, and your behavior controls your results. So if you think about that, logic keeps us stuck. So if you're thinking out of your conscious mind and you're just gathering information there, and then it's through just gathering the information and impressing it upon your subconscious mind, that is where your logic takes over. And all the reasons why you shouldn't or you couldn't, or who am I to do this? You know, and if you think about it, Bob always uses the Wright brothers as an example. So think about the Wright brothers. If you can imagine going back in time to when they were where they were then, and put yourself in that position right now. They were thought to be crazy. They were thought, I mean, their family was embarrassed by them. People wanted to lock them up in a mental institution. They were told over and over and over again, stop what you're doing. It's almost like women were thought to be witches and burned at the stake in some point of views. They were in the opposite way as far as technology go and advancements go. People could not get out of their logical mind to even think that it was possible to fly an airplane or a human in the air. They just would not even think about it. And these guys were ridiculed, were run out of town, were, just put yourself in the position, the things they were heard, the things that were said to them, the things that people that loved them the most or they thought cared about them the most told them to give up. Who are you? You're crazy. You're ruining your reputation. You're ruining our family's reputation. Just all of the things. And yet they still went after it because they knew that they could do this. And they didn't let anyone deter them from it. It's not logical. You see, a logical thing would have been for them to stop, to say, yes, you're right, and just conform like 90% of people do and go along with the masses. What's not logical is what the Wright brothers did. What's not logical is when instead of you getting your normal 3 to 5%, maybe it's a raise a year, or you set your next goals as we're going into goal setting for next year, you're like, okay, so I did this, so what's 5% or 10% better? That's what you get. So what's illogical is, what would it look like if you got 200% better, 500% better? You did a quantum leap. We don't typically set goals that way because that is not logical. That is not what we've been taught. And I'm here to tell you that I'm a product of the product, and it can and does happen if you get out of your logical mind and get into the spirit of it and go, as I said last week, when you're setting your goals, you set the C goal, and your only prerequisite is the desire and the want for it to happen. The how will be shown, just like it was for the Wright brothers. They tried again and again and again, and eventually they found the way. The how presented itself. So think about, as you're going through your day, we're all programmed through our environment. And as I said, logically, as I study this information, and Bob studied Think and Grow Rich, it was every day. It was reading the same book over and over and over again, and going through the repetition of what this looks like, because you are programmed to speak the way you speak, to eat the way you eat, to learn the way you learn. You're a product of your environment. And the paradigm controls the behavior, and your behavior produces your results. So know that the people in your environment, especially when you were younger, were doing the best they could with the programming, the paradigms, the habitual behaviors that they learned. And those people were doing the best they could. And those people, and again, it goes back generation to generation to generation. So knowing that you're a product of your environment, the best part is that you can switch that, and you can change that, and you can start taking out what no longer serves you and replacing it with what will serve you. And it is through thinking negative and positive. So if your results are not what you want, they're negative, or you're looking at them as negative, or you're just not getting to your goals. Maybe it like before I found this information, year after year after year, you're falling short. Well, what you want to do is you want to take your negative to beliefs, like money's hard to make. I know a lot of people have a lot of money paradigms. Money's the root of all evil. To be wealthy and rich, you have to have done someone wrong. To get anywhere, it's really hard work. All these negative ideas and things that we were told, and beliefs that we carry with us, because that's what was instilled in our subconscious and part of our paradigm. And you'll know it is because you look at your results. And if your results are not what you want, it's your paradigm controlling the behavior, and your behavior controls your results. So the only way to get the results you truly desire is to switch out the paradigm. And that would be, the behaviors will change and your habitual habits will change once you do that. So write out some of your negative beliefs. Write out some of these things. Like when I say, when I was growing up, money was, what are you filling it in with? And a lot of what word you fill in, and how you feel about it, and what emotion comes up from your childhood or from how you were raised, it more than likely is a direct reflection in your life right now, to a degree, if not fully. And so looking at it that way, now what your role in this process is to remove that And how do you remove that? It's through the repetition. So write the polar opposite or write the positive of the negative. And when you write down the negative, destroy it. And now when you write the opposite and you're focused on the positive, that's where you want to come from. And that's what you want to focus on. Money flows to me freely, in abundance, through multiple sources. I do so much good with where the money lands. You know, and I'm just talking money right now because that's been coming up a lot for a lot of my clients is money paradigms. I mean, you could go into self-confidence, you could go into business. It's hard to get clients. It's hard to learn, and whatever it is for you, if you're focusing on the hard and the negative, that is what you'll continue to get. So what you want to do is you want to write it down, whether it's on a goal card or, Bob says, write it out 100 times in the morning and 100 times at night until your subconscious, through repetition over and over, accepts it. And you'll know it accepted it by your results once they start changing, and once your behaviors start changing, once your habitual behaviors and habits start changing, your results will follow. It's an amazing thing. So 2 ways that you can change out your paradigm, and I've already touched on one of them, is through the repetition and the repetition of doing this over and over and over again. That defies logic, because how we were taught, especially in school, is you pick up the book, as I said, you read it, you cram, you take a test, you show that you know the information, which you don't know it, you're just gathered it enough to pass a test. So what defies logic is, what if you were to read the same book for over 60 years every day? That just doesn't happen. Or like the Wright brothers, it defied logic. Everything that they knew and were told. So how can you defy logic right now in your current circumstances? That's one way to get rid of the paradigm. And the other way is through an emotional impact. It could be something like 9/11. It could be the loss of a relationship, a divorce, a death, something that impacts you and changes you forever. And the difference between the two, and when you have an emotional impact, 99 out of 100 times it's a negative impact. And then it shifts you internally. So my whole thing is why wait? Why wait for that loss or that negative impact to happen in order for you to start making these changes, when the other way is through repetition? It's through focusing on what you do want. It's defying the logic of doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Well, what if that's flipped on its head and it's a positive thing? And you're going for what you want and you desire. And in order to instill it in you, it is through repetition versus an emotional impact. Can you see how that would be different? Can you see how you have more control? And the issue that so many people run into is that they'll start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. This isn't working because they don't get the results right away. They don't wait for the time for it to show up. And there is a time delay. I know they talk about the law of attraction and the law of the vibration of it. If you got everything you thought of almost instantly, that could be detrimental if you really think about it. So you do need that space. You do need the repetition of it to show the universe that you are serious about it, that you do want it. And so many people let the old paradigms take over, the old behavior and the old habits come back. And that keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Happened to me for years upon years upon years in my business, in my personal life. So it's true. And I'm a product of the product. And I show through my actions and through my goal setting and through achievement that this can, and it can be done, and it is done. You just show up and do the work. So law of polarity, I touched base on that. And that's, again, everything has an opposite. So you have up, down, in, out, hot, cold. That's looking for the good in situation. every situation. It's finding the good. So thinking about the law of polarity, if you are not where you want to be and your results are not what you want, what is the opposite of that? What is it you do want? And if you can start focusing on what you do want versus what you have right now, that is where a shift can happen and will happen. You start focusing on the desire and the want and coming from that place and feeling it as if it's already here and done. And I actually had an amazing book club discussion last night on paradigms. And what I wanted to bring through to this group and to this teaching as well is that if you're coming from lack, and let's go back to money. Let's say you want money because you want to feel better, because you want to get out of debt, because you need it to feel like you could do something. That's actually repelling money, because what you want to focus on is finding the good and knowing that you are enough, you've always been enough, and you will always be enough. You want to show up in happiness and completeness right now in order to manifest and attract whatever it is that you desire. Because if you're just trying to get money because you think that's going to make you complete, or you think that's going to solve your problems, or you think that's the way to happiness, and you won't be happy until it happens, then that's the repelling energy. You want to find, and it's through gratitude for me is what did it, but what you want to do is you want to find the happiness now in the lack of it, or even if it's not here yet. Because if you can't feel fulfilled and you can't feel happy and you can't feel like you have everything you need right now, it's really difficult and almost impossible to attract what it is that you want. So that's where starting your day with gratitude, focusing on what you do want versus what you don't want, and feeling it as if it's here and done, and you're already complete and you're already whole. And you woke up today, you're taking a breath, and that's where you play the what if, what if, what if. What if I lost my job? What if I lost my house? What if I lost this? What if I ended up under a bridge in a cardboard box? What if I did this? And you just play it down to the very, very last what if. You'd still be here and you'd still be whole. And it's coming from that place of you have enough. I am enough. I have enough. I'll always be enough. And manifesting and drawing in what you're desiring from that place. And that is where a lot of people can't differentiate or break the chain or break the cycle or break the paradigms, because that defies logic. Because you can have fear or faith. You have to pick one. You can't see either. And 90% of people choose fear instead of going for it. They let all the reasons and the paradigms and the thoughts of why they shouldn't, why they can't, who am I, to hold them where they're at, because at least they know what to expect. It's not at all what they want, and they know what to expect. So in thinking about this, compete with yourself and no one else. And stop thinking and caring so much about what other people think about you. Work on your self-image and confidence and what you can do to get 1% better every day. So look at what you did yesterday. Make one more call, make one more connection. When you're done for the day and you're ready to leave work, or you've done all that you said you were going to do, what's one more thing you can do? Because if you start doing 1% better every day, imagine where you'll be at the end of the year, even at the end of this 90-day sprint. If you are self-aware and if you show up with the intention that you are going to do better than you did yesterday, and you do it every day, I can guarantee you will be in a different spot. because most people won't. Their reasoning, their habitual behaviors, their paradigms will tell them all the reasons why they don't need to. Oh, I did it yesterday, or I showed up really good yesterday, so today I'm just gonna, go do this or go do that instead of doing what you know it is you should be doing. So 1% better every day, whatever that looks like for you, and know that paradigms are everywhere. Your culture, your family, if you're in corporate America, your business, your friend group, you all have your own paradigms and ways that you show up and where you act from. So if you change your habitual behaviors, because we have a multitude of habitual behaviors, change and you will improve. You'll improve your results, and especially if you replace the negative ones with the positive ones. One area will always affect the other. Go back, listen to week 1, listen to week 2, listen to this one over and over again, because I'm telling you, repetition is the key to get from where you are to where you want to be. And you'll never hear it the same, because you will continually hear it differently, because you're different, especially if you're focusing on yourself and the 1% better every day. So until next week, go get your goals and drop a comment below. Let me know if you need anything. I will read them. I will respond. I'm happy to jump on a call. I'm here to get you on your 90-day sprint, get you the goal. So let's do it together.